You haven't been back since the Luigi Mangione story broke and the alleged murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione, who pled not guilty last week, he could face the death penalty. That is what the DOJ, I believe, is looking at. His attorney said he shouldn't face New York State charges. He didn't get his Miranda rights read. That's in part. There was a seizure of his backpack, possibly illegally. His next court date is in June 26th. I guess I just want to talk to you about like the Luigi Mangione effect, and like what it means that so many people. I know I was so nervous to post about like this story, I remember. And then just watching folks in my comments be like, nah, had it coming. Yup. I think this is good. It's like, oh, we are so black-pilled on this issue because folks are so frustrated. But tell me, how you guys have been talking about it and your thoughts on the trial and such.
I mean, I don't think it's an issue of being black-pilled. I think it's just recognition, right? Recognition for the fact that we all live under this system that thrives on extraction and abandonment. It's not hard to understand how rage builds when you're held hostage by a health system that sees your life as a line item, that, treats everything as an opportunity for profit. When the person who's standing between you and a necessary medication, is someone who lives in a glass house and drives a glass yacht, like the CEO of a healthcare corporation, right? Which is universally known for their practices of, nickel and diming people to death. It's really no surprise that people see a sort of release and celebration in the fact that sort of untouchable structure was taken to the point of being touchable for the first time.
Right.
This is the first time in US history that an insurance executive has faced consequences for their actions. Like the first time ever. That's important to remember, that's really important to remember. And it's, we're told that, it's a problem that violence has been politicized in this case or whatever. But, the political violence in the United States is constant, right? Yep. Like it just usually doesn't come from the bottom up. It's usually managed by insurers, underwritten by the state, executed in quiet, bureaucratic means, or it's done in a spectacular scale in the case of, the many genocides that the United States gleefully funds. But this is also the kind of, I think this is a really interesting historical return to an earlier era. Assassination historically has been framed in the anarchist tradition as something called the propaganda of the deed, right? Mm-hmm. A symbolic act that ignites the masses. It also demonstrates that no one's untouchable. And this is something that, like, in the 19th century, in the, sort of age of the Industrial Revolution, this was a common tactic, right? Like, this is something that was a part of American life. And, we've been talking about it as a kind of return to that, which, is a kind of interesting parallel to the fact that eugenics is back in a very big way.
But also the kinds of inequality of that time, and the massive income inequality, the kind of return to the feudalism that I think so many of the oligarchs behind Trump and elsewhere pine away for. Just kind of, the unspoken like thing that happens in the utopia of all these tech fascists is that people die. Massive amounts of people die. It is the result of so much money, and the profit motive in this healthcare system that, again, even right-wingers were celebrating Luigi Mangione's actions or alleged actions. And that caught everyone flat-footed.
Yeah, like when the deed that he's accused of doing, happened, I cried. Not in like a sad way, in a like cathartic way, because I thought of all the friends over the years that I've lost to health insurance greed, that I've lost to denials. Like all the people who had died were back with me in that moment and had been vindicated for the bureaucratic violence that like directly contributed to their deaths. It's really no surprise like that people took this as a moment to sort of see a folk hero in whoever did that. again, it's the propaganda of the deed. It doesn't matter who did it. It's the fact that the deed itself has been done in such a public way. And they're going to do everything they can to persecute the person that they've accused of doing this. And I think it's, like, as you're saying, allegedly, like, it's important for all of us to be talking about this without, as much as like all the Luigi memes are really funny and really great, and I'm here for it. Like, it's also on us to not reproduce the state's propaganda that's trying to take the power out of this moment and like refocus it in on the kind of personality and the trial and everything, because all of that, takes away from the fact that like someone who is untouchable faced consequences.
Yeah.
And that is incredibly meaningful to the millions of people in this country who have had their lives ruined by health insurance, who have had their loved ones taken from them, who have had even just the terror of like what to do about healthcare. With like, I feel really sick. Do I go to the emergency room? What's going to kill me faster? What's wrong with me, maybe, or the bill, right? Like, that's going to potentially destabilize my housing, or, like, whatever. I know so many parents who have had really sick kids who have gone and like spent the night in the car outside of the ER because they're like, I don't know if I can take on this bill, but like, I think my kid might have RSV and they're like breathing really weird and I don't know what to do. And I'm just so worried. I'm just going to go. And that way, if like in the middle of the night, I just need to take them, like I can take them at the last possible moment, but then like maybe it'll be okay.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.